Imagine your reputation is a magnificent statue you are carefully carving. Someone walks by and takes a small hammer, making a tiny, disrespectful chip, an insult. This might be a quiet joke, a changed tone, a glance that lasts too long, a smile that hides something sharp. Most people, they ignore these small chips. They brush it off. They tell themselves, it's not worth my time to react. But then it happens again, louder, a deeper chip, more public. And by the time they feel they must respond, it's too late. Because a chip that is ignored is a chip that is allowed to grow. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. In a world obsessed with power, reputation, and who is in charge, he knew respect isn't something you just get. It's something you carve into stone with strong will. And when someone makes a chip in your reputation, your next move decides everything. Not just what they think of your statue, but what everyone watching learns about how to treat your work from now on. Because a disrespectful chip is rarely a truly personal attack at first. It's a test. And if you fail it, your statue isn't just marked as weak. It's marked as safe to chip away at again. So when someone disrespects you, do this. Not later, not just in your head, but immediately. You go silent. But this silence is not passive. It's not giving up. Because here's the first principle Machiavelli would teach about handling disrespect. The person who reacts with a quick, emotional chip loses control of their work. But the person who pulls back smartly becomes unpredictable. And being unpredictable creates a powerful kind of respect and fear. Silence doesn't mean you didn't see the chip. It means you pull back your energy. You don't laugh it off. You don't pretend not to see it. You don't explain how it made you feel. You make them feel your absence. In your steady gaze, in your calm voice, in your refusal to keep the energy flowing. It's a hard pause in the rhythm they were trying to create. A sudden quiet moment in a conversation they thought they controlled. Because disrespect only grows when it gets attention, like laughter, excuses, or trying to make peace. But when it's met with cold stillness, it shows itself for what it truly is. A cheap, desperate try to damage your work. If these truths about protecting your masterpiece are starting to sharpen your sculpting skills, you're ready to create something legendary. Hit that like button now. And make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into these essential strategies. Your support helps us share this crucial wisdom. Machiavelli never made the first aggressive move. He watched. He allowed his rivals to show their full intentions, confidently, before he ever responded. And when he did, it was never with an apology. It was with precision. Your next move is to reflect the challenge back to them. Not by chipping back, not by attacking, but by asking a question. Because when someone disrespects you, they expect an emotional outburst. They want to trigger your insecurities. What they don't expect is exposure, so you hold their eye contact. You might tilt your head slightly, and you say with calm precision, "Did you mean to carve it that way?" Or, "Are you sure you want to repeat that cut?" Or, "That felt personal. Want to make it clearer before I respond?" Each line is a controlled, careful cut. You're not denying the attack. You're inviting them to make it again, out in the open, to double down. To make their aggression public. Most won't, because most people who disrespect you aren't truly brave. They're just looking for an easy win. They test limits to see who will stop them. And when you meet their move with silent tension and clear thinking, they begin to doubt their position. And that doubt is what you want. Not revenge, not drama, just doubt. Because the person who makes others doubt, who makes people hesitate, stumble, and correct themselves around them, doesn't need to demand respect for their work. They just radiate it. But here's where the game gets deeper. Most people can handle one challenge, one confrontation. What they can't handle is when you are always consistent. If someone disrespects you once, and you handle it, good. But if they sense that the door is still a little open, if your energy softens later, they'll try again. So a key step is this: redefine the relationship immediately. You don't go back to normal. You don't pretend nothing happened. You draw a new line in how you speak, how you show up, and how unavailable you now become. Machiavelli knew that public actions, when fair and done at the right time, not only stop a threat, they teach everyone in the room a lesson. So if the disrespect happened in front of others, let your new posture speak louder than any comeback ever could. Pull back your friendliness, sharpen your language. Say no to their invitations. You don't need to announce the change. Let them feel it. This is what separates the respected from the ignored. It's not being bossy through fear. It's being powerful through clear principles. You've shown the room I am not available for that kind of behavior. And I won't explain myself to make you comfortable about it. And now the social current flows differently. Others notice. They become careful. Your name becomes one they speak with more thought, less ease. Because the person who cannot be disrespected isn't the loudest. It's the one who knows exactly what to do the moment it happens. Not with noise, but with controlled silence, clear understanding, and a complete refusal to make comfort more important than self-respect. That's how you stop problems before they start. Not with anger, not with ego, but with exactly what they didn't expect. Discipline, distance, and total command of the room. Disrespect is never a small thing. It's a signal, a probe, a planned little push to see how far they can go before you stop them. And once you allow one small chip, like one insult hidden as humor, one subtle dismissal, or one fake compliment laced with hidden meanness, you've taught everyone in the room what your silence is worth. And Machiavelli would tell you, once they see you as easy to disrespect, regaining control costs double the effort. So after that first encounter, after you've gone silent, addressed the moment without emotion, and kept your distance, what happens next is just as important. Because people will test boundaries again, not in the same way, but in clever, more damaging ways. They'll see if you truly meant it. They'll joke again, just with a smile this time. They'll exclude you from a decision and call it an accident. They'll make a passive comment and watch your face for even a hint of doubt. That's when you make your second big move. Strengthen your position through a strong response. Machiavelli's thinking wasn't about being fair. It was about being effective. And he understood something few people today are willing to accept. If the punishment is equal to the offense, it's easily forgotten. But if it's much bigger, it becomes unforgettable. You're not reacting emotionally. You're sending a message. You don't get to try that with me twice. So when they cross the line again, you go colder, not louder. If they made the mistake publicly, you send the message publicly but smartly, not through insults, but through surgical removal. They make a comment? You respond by pausing, looking them directly in the eye, and talking to the rest of the group instead. They ask you a question? You respond with a single word, then move your attention away. They try to get back your friendliness? You give them the social equivalent of a closed door, polite, formal, distant. It's not fighting, it's removal. You're not trying to beat them. You're showing something more powerful. They've lost access. That's what hurts people the most. Not being insulted, but being ignored by someone who used to acknowledge them. And this is where most people fail. They want to be liked. They want to smooth things over. They want to believe that being the bigger person will earn them admiration. But Machiavelli would laugh at that. Because respect isn't earned through forgiveness. It's earned through planned consequences, delivered with silence, not anger. And here's where your real strength begins. People are watching. Always. They saw the moment of disrespect. They saw how you responded. And now they're watching to see if you'll go back to your old ways, or if you truly meant what you showed. This is your chance to change how people see you. Because image, Machiavelli said, is more powerful than truth. And your image, after conflict, becomes your armor or your weakness. You want your silence to be understood as, he doesn't allow that. Or, she won't engage if disrespected. Or, you only get one chance with them. When your name starts carrying those ideas, everything changes. people speak more carefully. They stop joking around in your direction. They introduce you to others with terms like serious, sharp, focused. That's your new power. You didn't ask for it. You built it, one careful response at a time. But there's one more layer, something deeper and more difficult. Because some people won't be stopped by public shame. They don't care about approval. They want your reaction. They thrive on causing trouble, on being the one who makes things uncomfortable for fun. And when these types meet someone like you, they either try even harder or they completely back off. If they try harder, that's your sign for the next level of response. Use their disrespect against them. You don't get emotional, you act smartly in social ways. If they're someone with influence, a good reputation, or an important role, start showing their true behavior clearly to others. Use what they do against them, loudly or subtly, but always with control. For instance, you might say, "That's an interesting joke. Do you use that one at work too?" Or, "If you talk to your friends like that, I'd hate to hear how you talk to strangers." Or, "I'm surprised you said that out loud." You're not arguing. You're just highlighting their actions. You're making them see their own words in front of others. And that's when their confidence starts to shrink. Not because you fought them, but because you made the room remember what they really are: small, noisy, insecure. This is the power of Machiavellian counterattack. It's never loud. It's never rushed. It's measured, targeted, and done with such calm precision that the other person doesn't even realize how badly they've just been outplayed. And the best part? You're still calm. You're still poised. You've let the disrespect hang in the air, and then broken it down into something they now own. That's how you build power in silence. Not just by refusing to react, but by making every disrespectful act a step toward their own public downfall. And in doing so, you never chase respect again. Because now they all know. You don't argue. You don't explain. You don't tolerate. You end it, quietly, precisely and permanently. What most people don't understand is this: disrespect doesn't thrive on boldness. It thrives on safety. Not your safety, but theirs. They insult you when they think you won't respond. They mock you when they believe there will be no consequence. They push because they're confident you've never pushed back before. That's the fuel of most disrespect, the assumption that you won't do anything. But Machiavelli knew something different. He understood that power isn't about striking often. It's about creating the sense that you could, that at any moment you might choose to respond in a way they didn't expect and won't be able to control. This is the next level. You become a threat without ever threatening. You don't need to say a word. You just need to become harder to predict. From now on, when someone disrespects you and you've already made it clear where the boundary lies, your job is not to get them to like you, it's to make them uncertain of you. Not scared, not intimidated, just unsure. Did I go too far? Why is he so quiet right now? What's she thinking? Why didn't they respond like before? That uncertainty becomes your shield. Because the person they're unsure of is the person they start avoiding. This is why Machiavelli warned against being too open, too consistent, too easy to read. A ruler who is easy to understand becomes easy to control, but when you're silent, unreadable and controlled, when you respond once, cold and precise, and then retreat again behind stillness, you become unique. And in social settings, unique people change the way things work. People begin giving way to you, not out of fear, but out of natural instinct, because the mind naturally protects itself from what it doesn't fully understand. So you lean into that. You don't talk as much as others, you observe longer than is comfortable. You say less than expected, but when you speak, every word lands powerfully. Now here's the psychological twist. Most people think respect comes from being liked. It doesn't. It comes from being felt. When you walk in a room and the air changes, when people lower their voices, shift their posture, and adjust their tone, that's not popularity. That's presence. And presence is built through contradiction. You don't always respond, but when you do, it hits hard. You don't need to control everything. but you refuse to be disrespected. You don't ask for respect, but you remove access the moment it's violated. That's how your energy becomes a warning, a silent, unspoken consequence wrapped in calm control. But there's a final transformation, something few ever master. You stop reacting to disrespect as if it's personal. You start treating it as information. This is where your mind separates from the average person. They hear an insult and feel pain. You hear it and think, there's the weak spot in them. They mock you, and you don't flinch. Because you see through it. You read the need behind the disrespect. Insecurity, jealousy, fear, projection, desperation, to assert control in a place they feel none. That's the final twist of power. When someone disrespects you, it reveals them, not you. So you log it, you remember it, and you move forward, not by forgiving, but by calculating. Do they still get access to you? Do they need to be isolated publicly or privately? Do you use them to send a message to others, or let them disappear quietly? You're no longer playing emotional games. You're orchestrating your position. And as Machiavelli taught, the best position is one where others fear violating your boundary, even when you're not there. That's when you've won. Not when people admire you, not when they praise you, but when your absence carries the same weight as your presence. Because the people who never get disrespected aren't always the loudest. They're the ones who've made disrespect too expensive. Not through rage, not through revenge, but through disciplined silence, consequences that hit harder than expected, and strong self-control. You don't need to play the social game like they do. You play the power game. And when you do, everything changes. People hesitate before crossing you. Their jokes shift tone. Their words soften. Their energy recalibrates. Because now they know, you're not here to fit in. You're here to be respected. And if they can't do that, you'll leave them in silence they won't recover from. There's a moment in every power dynamic, subtle but undeniable, when the room shifts around you. It happens after the silence, after the boundary, after you've made it clear without a word that you're not the kind of person to cross. It's not just that people stop disrespecting you, it's that they stop thinking they could. And that's the final layer Machiavelli would insist on. You don't simply respond to disrespect, you transform what you represent in their mind. Because in the end, power isn't about your reactions. It's about what people assume you'd do even if you say nothing at all. You become someone whose limits are unknown, whose silence doesn't signal giving up, but careful preparation, whose calm isn't friendliness but strong control. And here's what most miss. Once you've enforced a boundary once, that's not the end. That's your reputation test, not just with the one who disrespected you, but with every single person who witnessed it, directly or indirectly. Because the moment someone crosses you publicly, everyone else is watching to see if your value is self-regulated or dependent on the audience. If you hold strong under pressure, without exploding, apologizing, or needing praise, they feel something they can't describe: certainty. And certainty is the rarest trait in a world addicted to approval. Now, this doesn't mean being cold or mean. It means your warmth is now a choice, not something automatic. You smile when you want to. You speak when you decide it's valuable. You give access only to those who've proven they don't take it for granted. This is how you become untouchable, not through physical power, but through your energetic value. And energetic value is built by subtraction. You subtract things like quick reactions, neediness, over-explaining, trying to justify your presence, and allowing even a tiny bit of disrespect hidden as just a joke. That's when you start to attract a new level of response. The room slows when you enter. People don't interrupt you mid-sentence. They repeat your words later because they were measured. And few. You're no longer someone just trying to get by socially. You are the social terrain. And here's where Machiavelli's most brutal insight comes in. Men must be either respected or eliminated. In modern terms, either they understand your value or they no longer get access to it. It's not about revenge. It's about consequence without drama. The people who disrespect you once and then never again aren't the problem. They're the lesson. But the ones who do it again, subtly, repeatedly, slyly, those are the ones you do not correct. You vanish from their world. Or worse for them, you rise in power while they fade into irrelevance. Because in silence, you exposed them. And in distance, you reminded them. You were never easy to get to. They were simply being tolerated. And once you've made this shift, your entire way of being in the world changes. You no longer try to be liked. You no longer respond to indirect attacks. You no longer feel the need to prove that you're the bigger person. Because now you've realized something Machiavelli knew centuries ago. You never have to defend what you won't allow to be touched. They can't disrespect you if they can't reach you. They can't undermine you if you never stood on their approval to begin with. They can't provoke you if your silence makes them question their own status. This is the highest level of psychological dominance, not cruelty, not pride, but control. Control over what you react to, control over what energy you return, and control over who even gets the chance to see your reaction in the first place. That's how kings moved in Machiavelli's world. And that's how you move in yours, not with rage, not with noise, but with a presence so disciplined, so exact, that violating it once is all they'll need to remember. Because after that moment, you don't just get respect, you become the standard by which all others are measured. Now there's one final move. The moment when someone has disrespected you and they realize it was a mistake, you don't punish them, you don't forgive them, you do something more powerful. When someone disrespects you and then realizes they've made a mistake, what do? This is the question that defines legacy. Because at that point, you're no longer reacting to the attack, you're shaping the narrative, you're sculpting perception. You're deciding who they become in the aftermath, and more importantly, who you become. Here's the final Machiavellian truth. Mercy can be more terrifying than punishment. Because mercy, when delivered without warmth, carries with it a chilling message. You are no longer a threat to me. That's how you finish the game. After you've enforced the boundary, after you've withdrawn your presence, after you've held strong in complete stillness and let the silence echo, they may come back. They may apologize. They may try to overdo it. They may laugh nervously, try to go back to normal, test whether the ice has melted. And here, this is your moment of ultimate control. You don't lash out. You don't smile. You don't comfort. You simply remain unchanged. No bitterness, no resentment, no need to explain why you're different now. You let them walk around in the new reality you've created, where your gaze no longer searches for their presence, where your energy no longer adjusts to accommodate theirs, where they are no longer a variable in your world, but a ghost drifting through it. This isn't being petty, it's power by absence. Because nothing is more unsettling to someone who tried to shake your power than finding out you were never depending on them in the first place. You were never looking for validation, never seeking belonging, never operating under their rules. That's the final cut, when they realize that not only did their disrespect fail to wound you, it elevated you. It made you sharper, more respected, more distant, and ultimately, more untouchable. This is the role Machiavelli would have you play. Not the angry ruler who punishes every slight, but the silent architect of consequences. Someone who allows others to expose themselves in public, while remaining calm, calculating, and just out of reach. The one who never demands respect. Because everyone already knows. You only make that mistake once. Now, in the aftermath, you'll notice something strange. Your name starts circulating in whispers. Not because of drama, but because of your self-control. People begin to say things like, "He doesn't say much, but when he does," or "I've never seen her lose her cool," or You don't want to be on their bad side or careful with that one. They don't come back around. That's what you've built. A reputation so solid that people self-correct around you. They double-check their tone, they review their phrasing, they ask themselves if you're watching. Not out of fear, but because your energy now comes with weight. And from that point forward, you no longer have to fight for respect. Because you've proven something rarer than simply being strong. You've mastered selective presence. You show up when you choose to. You speak when it matters. And when you leave, whether from a conversation, a social situation, or a relationship, they feel it. Because the person who cannot be disrespected is not the loudest in the room. They are the one whose attention is no longer guaranteed. So let them talk, let them guess, let them wonder what you'll do next. Because they already know. If they cross the line, you won't explain, you won't argue, you won't chase. You'll simply disappear. And that silence will echo louder than any comeback ever could. If you found this valuable, the next step is simple. Continue learning how to truly command. Hit the like button if this journey has given you a clearer map for building your city. Your support helps us share these vital lessons. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications